Let me now show you how we can apply entries after posting the payment. And to demonstrate this, I will go to the cash receipt journal. And the scenario here is that we have received a payment from a customer, but at the moment that we are processing the payment, we don't find the invoice or the documents that the customer has paid. So first of all, let me open the bank badge. There we go. The posting date is okay. As document type, I will again select payment, and the account type is customer. So the account number, customer 30,000, John Heading Insurance. And I've been looking in the open entries, but I don't find an invoice with the exact amount and so on. And this means I would like to post my payment unapplied. So let me first enter the amount, and the amount the customer has paid is this one. There we go. And again, I don't find an invoice or multiple invoices matching the amount, so I will simply post it as an open payment, so an unapplied payment. So that's something I can do very quickly now by clicking on post. And there we go. So everything is posted. So let's look at the result, and now you will very clearly see the difference with my previous example, because now if I go to the customer, and let me scroll down to customer 30,000. Next I will click on show the rest. Then I will go to navigate, history and ledger entries. There we go. And so what we see now is that we have a payment line. So there's a payment entry with the amount I just entered manually, but with the same amount here in the remaining amount field. And that's of course because we didn't apply the payment. And again, the scenario in this case was that at the moment of processing the payment, the user doesn't find the invoice or invoices that the customer paid. But afterwards, when analyzing the customer, now I can find the invoice. So here I can see the payment, and there is the invoice the customer paid. Now, and this means that also after posting the payment, we still should have the possibility to apply entries, because now I would like to apply these two entries. Now, and that's something that's quite easy to do. So first of all, very important, you need to go to the customer ledger entries for the customer for which you want to post the application. So in this case, my customer John Haddock. Next, I will go to actions. There we go. And here in the ribbon, you can now see the apply entries action. And again, this is quite similar to what we were doing in the cash receipt or the payment journal. However, now it's very important that we select one of the entries we want to apply. So it doesn't really matter which entry, so the payment or the invoice, but it's important that we select one of the entries we want to apply. Then I can click on apply entries, and what you will see now is that the entry that I've selected is now in the header, you see. So, and that's why it's important, that's why it should be one of the entries that you want to apply. So now there's an amount that I can apply with, so the 76,000. So next I can select the line or the lines I would like to apply with. So for example, in this case, the second line. And now I will have to do the same as in the cash receipt or the payment journal, and that's assigning the applies to ID. So by clicking on actions, I can now run the set applies to ID action. There we go. And because we're not in a document, there's no document number to use as applies to ID, but instead you see here that the system uses the user account, in my case admin. That's done, which means that now the balance is 0 because these two amounts perfectly match up. And I can now post the application. That's very important because in real life, sometimes I see that users now click on close, but if you click on close, nothing happens. You need to post the application. And so by clicking here on post application, the system will ask me the document number and the posting date. And next I can click on OK. So now the application is posted, and as a result, you can see now the remaining amount of the payment and the invoice is set to 0. So it's that easy to apply entries after posting the actual payment. Now, another thing that's very easy to do, but also very interesting in some situations, is unapply entries. Now suppose in this case, because the customer has multiple invoices with the same amount, suppose that I've applied with the wrong invoice and I would like to correct this. Then the first thing that I want to do is unapply these entries. And so first I need to unapply them so that I can apply them afterwards with another invoice with the same amount. Now to unapply entries, and you can already see the action here in the ribbon, the same remark. First select one of the entries you want to unapply, so for example the payment in this case, then click on unapply entries. Then the system will show you the entries that are applied. So in this case only 2 entries, but you can also have more than 2 entries, of course. And if this is what I would like to unapply, then I can simply click here on unapply and confirm by clicking on yes. So there you go, and as a result, the remaining amount is entered, of course. Now, also here, a very good example of how the system creates detailed customer ledger entries. Because it didn't remove the previous application, no, it just created another additional detailed entry. So if I now click here on the remaining amount, you see that we have 3 detailed entries. So the first one, the initial entry, then the application I just posted, and then the third one is the result of running the unapply function. So the unapply function will also create additional detailed customer or vendor ledger entries, because at vendor side it works in exactly the same way. So now there's a remaining amount again, and if you want, you can run the apply entries function again to apply with another invoice.